Recognize we are equals. We gotta fight against evil. From Mexico to Palestine, no human life is illegal. Solidarity, prosperity, I know the struggle, I see you. All people been dying, all people been bleeding, all women been crying, all people need healing, all women in hiding, can't even say what they feeling. Half the time we don't notice all the hell that they deal with. And misogyny, no apologies, we just gotta put work in. It ain't time to be wasting time, man, our communities hurting. Done spitting what's worthless, my rhymes needed purpose, plus the people deserve it. Yo, I'm not the boss, I'm a servant, just a working class citizen, and that's point blank period. I'm a black, brown, and indigenous. Gotta holler if you really feeling this, gotta holler if you really real enough. Other rappers is delirious, yeah, it's really that serious. Better holler if you really feeling me. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna live in abundance. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna.
Showing the picture. There's always kinks that happens that you don't notice until it's time. I hate that.
Yeah, well, I know that. I mean, but what was the kink? I didn't see a kink. I mean,
the video was supposed to go off
as
soon as the chorus was given a second time.
Oh, I see.
Well, anyway, shout out to Elias Ali.
Where did that music come from? I really like it. It's cool.
Yeah. Shouts out to Elias Ali. He's actually one of my comrades in the Socialist Party.
Okay.
A party for liberation, socialism and liberation. And he is an up and coming artist. And he that's what he does. He writes about working class issues. He writes about relationships with his girls, with his girl, of course. And he's a great artist. So everybody definitely check him out. Also, thank you all for the responses that I've been receiving and stuff. The Cuban podcast episode went very freaking well. I got journalists that were in Cuba, been in Venezuela, all over Latin America hemisphere that were able to talk about what's going on in Cuba and U.S. relations. And I was waiting for people to just go crazy on that, but it went well. And people are asking, how do we donate? So yes, I have no Patreon or anything right now. I'm doing Cash App and Venmo. So the link is in the link bar of whichever platform that you go to. It's inside the description of what the podcast is about. You click on the link and you can choose where you like to donate. Thank you so much for your support. Without further ado, I got my boy here, Bob Gatty, who is actually host of Lean to the Left, progressive activist, who has worked very tediously with the DNC there and working on a lot of good projects. We were just joking about how North Carolina is a right to work state and I'm a union guy, and that's not heard of really in North Carolina.
Wait a minute now, it's South Carolina. That's even worse.
South Carolina. I apologize.
Yeah. Yeah, the home of Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's the lady that you were talking about in the article, right?
No, Lindsey.
Not in the article, in description of of my episode. That's what you were talking about. Or that was a different Republican.
No. Lindsey Graham is a senator from South Carolina, the Trump's buddy. He's the guy that back in the campaign when Trump was first running and Graham wanted to be president too. He had all this shit to say about Trump and what a jerk he was and everything. And now he's like Trump's biggest ass kisser. Can I say that kind of stuff on your show?
Yes, this is unfiltered. Let people know straight up this is unfiltered.
Okay,
I have a problem with staying censored, and I only want to do it when I'm getting paid. So since I'm not getting paid enough yet for this, we're gonna stay unfiltered until the powers that be ask me to be filtered.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so down here in the great right wing nutcase state of South Carolina, we have to put up with that kind of stuff. We're working really hard to turn South Carolina blue, but that's just a pipe dream, really.
Mm.
They've got it sewed up, and now with redistricting the way they're doing it, it's going to be they're gerrymandering the hell out of the state, and it's going to make it even worse. So it's tough. Anyway,
Well, what are the so how many Democrats are seated there?
How many
And independents compared to Republicans
Well,
that hold office?
that hold office?
Yeah.
Are you talking about well, at the federal level in Congress, um, there are, I think, two Democratic members of the House, and all the rest are Republicans. And I think there's 12 districts.
Wow.
And of course, both senators are Republican. In the state legislature, in the House of Representatives, it's 2-1. It's worse than 2-1. And in the area that I live in, which is the Myrtle Beach area,
Nice spot.
they just redistricting. They just announced a new state legislative district here, and it's all gerrymandered to be Republican. And the Democratic Party, is trying to figure out what the hell to do about it. I mean, they even have trouble getting candidates, Jamari. I mean, it's people are just don't want to put up their money when they know it's a useless effort. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Really I definitely know exactly what you're saying, being in a third party. And then when you put in a good effort, you automatically get pushed back from the left and right saying you're stealing their votes and stuff. But it's like, bro, we're trying to like push this country into a good direction towards the left, towards real morals, towards working class rights and stuff like that. And
well, you know what? That's what this is supposed to be all about. I mean, we should have the freedom to do that. And I think it's wrong when a third party candidate puts up a fight and attracts voters, and then the Democratic Party complains that they stole votes away from them and cost them the election or whatever. I just don't agree with that. I mean, if those voters wanted to vote for the Democratic Party, they would have voted for them.
Right.
And if they didn't like the option offered by the third party, they wouldn't have supported that.
Right.
So,
well, there's good news for you. If you'd like for me to share you some quick good news to make you feel better about the situation, that change is coming.
what's that, my friend? What's the good news?
In the city of Hamden, the city above the city I live in Connecticut, they just elected their first social democrat in city council.
Yeah.
And we also have social democrats being elected all over the country, actually, and even in Latin America. Honduras, social democrat was elected, which is so good. And I don't know what kind of relationship the actual DNC, quote unquote, cough Hillary Clinton feels about Honduras, since she was a part of that toppling of government. But I think that's good news that the left is getting some praise, and it should inspire people in South Carolina to keep running. You got to keep going.
Yeah, you do. You got to keep at it, and we're working like hell to attract good candidates. And one of the things is that the Democratic Party down here, for years and years and years, really has been a joke. They haven't done anything at all. And there'd be a bunch of retired people who felt good about going to meetings and complaining about the Republicans, but that'd be about it. But in recent years, I got involved with them about 6 years ago when I first moved down here, and it was about that time and that's just a coincidence. I didn't really have that much to do with it, but it was about that time that things began to really percolate, and they began to get a lot more active. And then when I came in, I launched a pretty aggressive communications program, and for the first time in 2018, we had we had paid advertising that we were able to, and the result was that the margin got a lot narrower. We didn't win much, but the margin got a lot narrower. And then in the last election, the same thing occurred, and now we have some new people that came in and that have come in and are really skilled with certain marketing capabilities, and they're working really hard, and I think it's going to be a good thing. And I do think that once we begin to attract some decent candidates, and this things will change, and in this area, it's really important to attract candidates of all races. For so long, it's been, people who look like me, and not that many people who look like you, and that's a bad thing. And there's problems that the African American community, and I say that because of really where the clusters of where people live. It's not that it's, there's not segregated housing or anything like that, really. Right. But it just is a fact that in a lot of the communities that are more prone to flooding, which is a huge problem, it seems to be the minority population that lives in a lot of those communities.
Right.
And for whatever reason. And there has not been, they've been ignored in terms of their needs. And that's just damn wrong and needs to be fixed. So anyway, that's enough about South Carolina.
One thing I forgot to mention, there was a successful PSL campaign in New York City. Kathy Rojas, she won. She got the most third-party candidate votes of all time for her mayoral run.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you how she did, because we talked about that on my show.
Oh, you did? Yeah, awesome. No. Thank you for the shout out. Yeah, she did great. They of course they blocked her away from the debating stage and all that stuff. Of course, all that stuff happened. Sure. But she ran a very great, solid campaign. I'll be going to New York next year, in the beginning. I hope to see her, hang out with the PSL chapter up there. There are a lot of great people. But yeah, it was great. It was a great campaign, and it showed. What I loved about her campaign is it focuses on so many working class issues, and you're just seeing so many people that connect, and they got members that they didn't even realize they were going to get. Now is expanding, so it's showing that there is, the little victories, guys. The little victories is what we got to keep on holding.
What little victories, big victories at some point.
Yes,
just keep at it. It may take a lot longer than certainly my lifetime, but you might have an opportunity to see some big advances.
Right. Oh, I'm so mad I missed that. I have to go back to your archives and check when you did that episode.
I thought no, really what I was referring to was the show that you and I did. I thought you talked about her. On that show. Yeah.
Did I? I think I did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, we talked about it, and unless I'm getting, I am getting senile. There's no doubt about it. But I do think we did. I'm pretty sure, and that's what I was referring to. So I was interested to know how she did. I know that that I figured it would be a tough road to hoe, but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Are you looking to make any new books?
I am working on I'm working on two. I did the book Hijacked Nation, which is a Hijacked Nation, Donald Trump's attack on America's greatness,
Yeah.
which was a collection of blogs that I and other people who write for my blog site, not Fake News.biz, um, had written, and it's kind of a walk through contemporary history, talking about the key developments that occurred during the early to latter part of the Trump years.
Mm.
Um, we published the book in excuse me, October of last year, and so that's where it stopped. Now I'm working on finishing the Trump administration and going through the election and into current events. Uh, I'm going to change the name of the book for the third volume, and it's going to focus on the four-letter word that saved America, and that is VOTE, vote. And it's my opinion that that is exactly what happened when Trump was kicked out of office.
Mm.
So that's one book, and then the second one is a novel that I'm working on, and I'm excited about it. It focuses on guns and mass shootings and the difficult uh, issue of trying to reach uh, a solution to those horrible events. One of which we just experienced in Michigan.
Yeah.
Um, and South Carolina just passed a law that you can carry a damn gun openly anywhere. And I just think that's awful. And so that book, while it's a novel, is going to focus on that issue and on the effort to come up with sensible gun laws.
Mm.
And we'll see how that comes. I've been working on it for a while, and it seems like a slow slog. Right now, I'm kind of stuck. When I get stuck, I have to sit and wait until things clarify in my brain, and then I go back to it. So,
I
so
wanted to ask
it'll
you.
be a little while.
I want to ask you from our last time when we first met.
Yeah.
There's been some new stuff going on into the news, especially this past fall, about how the feds feel embarrassed about the Russia collusion, and now they're prosecuting Hillary Clinton's lawyer and other affiliates. All of did you know about that? Like how they're literally like prosecuting people that were um trying to put together because America, everybody, we all believed, even I believed at once that maybe there was some Russian meddling. Now I'm thinking it's just the Russian companies and not the actual government that was involved. But now they're prosecuting people that were gaslighting that type of thing, but they're still protecting Hillary Clinton though, which is interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can really talk much about that. I haven't paid that much attention, frankly, to it. I've been focused a lot more on domestic stuff
Mm.
and on the January 6th commission and what they're trying to do to uncover what happened on
Oh
January
God, yeah,
6th and Trump's role there.
yeah,
Um, and it's very interesting how Trump has got the Republicans scared to death to do anything. And
yeah,
first, Mark Meadows, who was his chief of staff and a former congressman, first he was cooperating with the committee, And there was a news story saying he was cooperating, and then just the other day he said, "Oh no, I'm not cooperating," and that was after Trump laced into him. And and then I just saw a piece today that Lindsey Graham is warning Republicans not to do anything to anger Trump, and that was focused on the effort to avoid shutdown of the government for the debt limit. So
he's
the
a fearless
Republican
leader now.
Huh? What'd you
He's
say?
a fearless leader. He's a fearless leader now.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. So so there's all of that, and then this is interesting thing too is Trump launching this new media company that he says is going to compete with Facebook and Twitter and everybody, and on the stock market, the money's just been rolling in to support that thing.
Right.
And then that congressman, what's his name? I can't think of it. Who has been a big Trump supporter? He's now going to be the CEO of that outfit, Devin Nunes, and so that's all interesting stuff, I think.
This quote, because I just pulled the article up. Because Jesus Christ, this quote is insane.
What quote?
Let me show you right now. Now, the people that are listening, this is from the Washington Post.
Okay, wait a minute. That's good.
All right. Can we move forward without President Trump? The answer is no. I've always liked who is Liz? What is that, Liz? Okay, whatever. But she made a determination that the Republican Party can't grow without Trump. I've determined we can't grow without him. So that's just full on, like, they have laid down to their master.
Yeah. And that was that was a couple weeks ago. This new one. Let me see here if I can find this new one. While we're talking, I'll look for this thing because it was pretty. It was pretty funny. I saw it this morning before I got up, and as I get older, I sleep later, and man. Oh,
I sleep late too. It's not just you, man.
I have all these people that want to have these early morning meetings. I'm going, well, what? Are you kidding? You know, I used to have to do that, and I don't have to do it anymore. And
forgive my cat. She's talking a lot. I don't know why.
Your cat.
Yeah, she's talking a lot for some reason. I don't know what's going on with her right now.
Oh man.
They're prosecuting the parents of that mass shooter. How do you feel about that? That's interesting. A lot of people have
actually I like it. Honestly, I do. I think that parents need to exercise some control over their kids, and
especially with guns.
And I don't know the details. I don't know if this issue was that the gun wasn't locked up or if the father actually went out and bought the gun for the kid.
He bought the gun for the kid, and he also put it in an unsecure spot in his nightstand. It wasn't locked or anything.
Well, that's not a good thing. Now, whether or not that rises to the point of criminal responsibility, the jury will decide that. I tend to doubt that will really happen, but I think the fact that the prosecution is taking place is a good thing because it sends a warning out to parents, I think.
Yeah, make an example out of them.
Yeah.
Gun laws, they're very I have such a I stand with having strict gun laws, but I'm also like I'm all about like the self-defense, like how the Black Panthers did and it became a problem with the Black Panthers. The NRA literally was mad as fuck that they had guns, but they've been so silent with Kyle Rittenhouse and all these other situations, and just been so approving of that. But whenever I think the stigma of Black people owning guns for self-defense is just embedded in our culture, and the NRA you never ever hear them say anything about Philando Castile, who had a permit to carry, and he's just a story of hundreds of other Black people that had permits to carry that was murdered just for having a permit to carry, and they don't ever discuss that ever. They don't talk about the gun violence that happens in our communities. They only talk about it when there's mass shootings and stuff like that. It's just there's a lot of deboning in this gun situation. Like,
oh, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. My feeling is, here's the story I was looking for. My feeling is that you just can't do that. You just can't color the gun issue black or white. If you look at these school shootings, these are white kids that have been doing this.
Yeah.
You look at what happened in Charleston at Mother Emanuel Church. It was a white shooter that did that.
Right.
To me, the problem is across the board, lax gun laws and having, I don't think anybody needs to have a AR-15 for self-defense. I mean, that's a weapon of war. To me, it just shouldn't be. But I have members of my family that don't talk to me because how I feel about this kind of stuff. So.
Let's go to the article.
Yeah,
this is awesome. Bob Gatty here.
It says Senator Lindsey Graham, South Carolina, offered a forceful warning to Republican colleagues during a private lunch on Wednesday, saying former President Trump will come down hard on any GOP senators who vote for Senator Minority Leader Mitch McConnell's deal to set up a special pathway to raise the debt limit. In blunt remarks to the Senate Republican Conference, Graham harshly criticized McConnell for putting Senate Republicans in position to get shot in the back over the deal. He said McConnell had backed away from his vow earlier this year to not give Democrats any help in raising the debt limit. So Graham is just saying, okay, we got to be afraid of Trump. We got to listen to him. And if we don't, we're screwed. I mean, basically.
Get down and lay down.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
This is interesting. I've never seen a Republican leader take so much control of their party in my lifetime.
No,
I'm almost 30.
I haven't either, but you know what it is. To me, it's first of all, he's a bully and he's got them afraid. And he's got what 35% or 38% or whatever it is of the American people who follow this crap that he puts out and sign up for it. And they still are doing it, even though the guy is out of office. I mean, the other day I was in my car, and in front of me was a pickup truck. And it had two big American flags in the back, and in the middle of the American flags was a big black Trump flag. And on the back window was a sign that said, "Go Brandon, go." And on the door panel on the driver's side, which I saw, there was a great big panel that said, "Go Brandon, go." All this Brandon shit cracks me up.
So who's Brandon?
Who's Brandon?
Yeah,
you haven't caught up with that? Oh man.
You talking about Brandon Biden?
No. And I don't know if I got it.
There's
all right.
so much going on right now. I'm covering the Russia and Ukraine relations.
There was an event where Republicans were blasting away at Biden, and some guy named Brandon did something, and the Republicans have picked that up. And now they have
he's a
this big
martyr.
slogan, "Go Brandon, go Brandon, go." And they've been chanting it at Trump rallies and
Right.
at other Republican events and their shirts. Somebody sent me a design for some "Go Brandon" shirts the other day. I'm going like, what the jeez, oh flip.
Speaking of
Anyway,
Republican heroes, Kyle Rittenhouse is a very interesting story because yes, the media have lacked in certain details on what actually went down, but I still feel like he should never been there. I still feel like he should never had that gun on him. But you are seeing people on the left, like for instance, one of my favorite people on the left, Jimmy Dore, who has just so disappointed me in this, defend him. Talking about guns and all this stuff. He's a very big highlight right now. How do you feel about that whole situation?
Oh, well, I mean, I think
the
that
court case was a shit show.
It was a shit show. And we wrote about that a couple of times on Not Fake News. One of my buddies is Mark Bello is a author, a lawyer, and has written a bunch of books about legal cases that have been in the news, including school shootings and such, and including shootings of African Americans. And at any rate, this thing it was a shit show, and Rittenhouse should have been convicted, in my opinion. I mean, he had no business doing what he did. Who goes to a rally or a protest carrying an AR-15 if he hadn't had a premeditated plan to use that gun?
Fully loaded mag.
Fully loaded. I mean, that was just ridiculous. And so, I mean, that's how I feel. I just thought it was a travesty of justice.
The defense did so perfectly with deboning these victims and trying to make them look like they were the adversaries, and he was doing justice by taking them down. It was just
and then they put him on the stand and let him cry.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was crazy. I never saw that. It was very interesting how they did these things. And now he's a personality. He's showing up on podcasts.
Well, now he's claiming now that he's not really a Trumper.
Yeah.
And then he
I don't know if I believe that, but all right, he can say that.
So what else?
He's supporting the police. He wants to be a police officer. He's hanging out with right-wing militias. He's been getting supported by freaking gun activists that are on the right, going to bars, doing Q&As and all this shit. And now all of a sudden you want to tell me that you're not a Trump supporter?
Yeah.
You support Black Lives Matter and all this shit.
Right.
You shot Black Lives Matter protesters. Maybe one guy was a pedophile and he had issues, but you still shot other two people that were Black Lives Matter protesters. That dude that he blew the arm off of, he's a revolutionary. You look at the things that he does, he's in the shit's activist. Like,
Jesus.
Like, how are you saying you support Black Lives Matter and you shoot these people? And the mainstream, Joe Rogan. Well, we all like. I love Joe Rogan, and then I don't like Joe Rogan. But he was trying to say that everybody thought that white people were not the ones being shot. They thought he shot black people. I never even read or distinguished that he shot black people because. I mean, maybe I pay attention to what's going on and actually watch video feeds. But if people really thought that he shot black people, that they just assumed. They didn't actually look into it. Like it's clear as day who was the victims, but they're using that as an excuse to say, "Oh, well, that's why people thought it was bad because they thought he shot black people." No, there's more to this. Why is a 17-year-old with a gun fully loaded?
Of course there is.
He's cleaning the streets.
You can go through all the bullshit you want, but the bottom line is the guy took an AR-15 to a volatile situation, and he was going to be he was going to protect the stores from getting looted or whatever,
Right.
and he was determined he was going to do something, and he did, and now among some people he's a hero.
The
And
owner of that business that he was protecting said they didn't want anyone there.
said
So that
what?
militia wasn't even welcomed. The
Yeah,
owner
okay.
of that business they said they didn't even want anybody there.
Yeah, right,
So it's like, okay,
right,
he gets
right.
away though.
Right.
Adding himself into shit he just shouldn't be adding himself into. But I mean, that's
Right.
like me going out in the street and telling somebody that I think sell drugs, hey, you shouldn't be selling drugs. This is not right. You need to leave. And then if I get into a fight with them, that's me not minding my damn business.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my problem.
yeah, yeah. Hey, let me ask you a question, Jamari. Do
Yeah.
you have you had as a young black guy, have you had occasion when you've been driving down the road in your car and you've seen a cop car behind you that for whatever reason you were afraid?
So I don't have a driver's license for that particular reason. I'm really
Oh,
actually afraid to drive. But when I'm in cars with my friends who are black, um, we have been pulled over. We have been tailed. I remember one crazy time I was in the car with um this girl who is an indigenous. She's indigenous. I forgot which tribe she's from. Uh, Sorry, Sky, if you're listening. I apologize, but I will remember which tribe you are from next time. But we were coming from work. She was dropping me off from work, and we were followed by this cop, and he decided to pull us over at the exit of the highway. Literally about to go onto the highway, and he pulled us
right.
over at the beginning of the exit.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess he's like, I gotta get them down because if they go on the highway, in the state police
right.
jurisdiction, you know what I mean? So literally, I'm like, really, this dude decide he been following us since we drove out of the the factory that we're working at, and then he decides last minute before we go fully on the highway to pull us over, and
And
he's like,
what came of it?
well, heart was racing. I was freaking out. You know what I mean? Because I never really had good experiences with police. Um, I was always searched without consent when I was in high school by cops. I had a dog rip half my pants off, a police dog once because I was walking by when shit was going down. Um, I got not chased, but I got like literally like approached by 5 cops with guns in their hands because I looked like somebody that they were looking for at nighttime.
Uh-huh.
Um, I had all those situations. So when I'm in this car with this girl, I'm very, very scared for her because she's indigenous and Native American people get murdered just as much as black people do, and
Yeah,
scared for myself as well too. I'm like, we're fucked. There's
yeah,
no way. If this guy wants to get mad about something, he has the total power. So,
yeah.
I just did exactly what my parents told me to do, be respectful,
Uh,
kept my hands like where the cop could see him. She kept her
mhm.
hands on the wheel and stuff like that. She's
Uh-huh.
shaking, terrified, by the
Oh
way.
man.
Yeah. But
So
the cop was just like, "Oh, you had a headlight, and I have to warn you to get that fixed and all that stuff." And then he just walked away. But it was just traumatizing, just
oh man.
off
So
the history.
but I want to be clear. You just said that you don't have a driver's license because of that.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't really want. I need to get my license now, um, but I've literally been laxed. I don't talk about this at all on the podcast. I don't ever mention this. I think it's the first time, but I'm literally been lax with getting my driver license just because of all the shit that's been going on. Like
Right.
Sean Bell, really, I was a little kid when that shit happened, and I think about Sean Bell all the time whenever I think about driving and stuff like that.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's really a shame.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry if I shouldn't have asked you that, but
Oh no, it's fine.
it just
People
went
just learn
across my
something new
mind.
about me.
It just went across my mind. Went right across there. And and the part where there isn't any hair. In there. Anyway, I just thought about that. I thought, yeah, because I know guys. I mean, you know the guy that's the head of the Democratic National Committee, Jamie Harrison. He ran for Senate
Yes.
down here in South Carolina against Lindsey Graham, and I was at a meeting he was at, and he told a story about how when he was maybe 10 years ago, he was driving in a car. The cop with the blue light flashing pulled him over. And he said it just scared the living, you know what, out of him. And it was just because he knew that he could be in danger because he is black. He had done nothing. There was nothing wrong with I think maybe there was a tail light or something that the cop used as an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a guy who, you know, he's a big deal, and still he got treated that way, and that's just damn wrong. And you know, anyway,
Prosecutor, there was a black prosecutor, black woman. Cop pulled her over. He didn't believe anything that she was saying until his partner came over, noticed her. Like, bro, this is a prosecutor, bro. You pulling over the wrong person right now. And then he's like, I apologize. I'm sorry. She's like, can I have your badge number? Can I have your badge number? And then she just drove off. One of the best videos ever, man. I was just like, yo, he changed his tone quick. He was like, sorry, man.
Yeah, real quick. Oh, sorry, ma'am.
I'm about to lose my job.
Yeah.
For profiling you.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, what else you got, you?
Yeah. So the last thing, how do you, so you know how I feel about biting and all that stuff.
Yeah, you don't like him much.
Not really, yeah. There's a thing that he's doing that I really don't like that he's doing right now between Russia and Ukraine. And I really want Americans to pay attention to this because this is a very big deal. The Ukrainian government are neo-Nazis. I need to repeat that. The Ukrainian government are neo-Nazis.
Okay.
They were given power by Israel, which is Israel, Bob. Israel helped them out the democratically elected government in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Israel and the United States helped them out. Israel gave them weapons. I'm talking about a Jewish people. Jewish people gave Nazis weapons. And the media is not talking about this. The media is only focusing on the fact that Russia has tensions with Ukraine and Russian troops are around the border, but not inside Ukraine yet. But they're trying to say they're about to invade. There's no word that Putin has said that. But Biden is threatening to give more sanctions to Russia. How do you feel? How do you feel about that, though? Did you know that Ukraine government is neo-Nazi?
No, I didn't. I had no idea. I haven't really been paying that much attention to that. I just read today where Biden has ruled out sending troops to Ukraine, which I thought that was good. I don't want to see troops over there. But I haven't really paid that much attention to it. And probably that's my bad, but I bet you a lot of people probably in the same boat.
So well, it's not your bad because they're not mentioning it.
Well, they need people like you to be bringing this out to the attention of people.
Yeah, but they'll definitely. I'll be like Assange, Julian Assange, like straight up. I already know my fate. If I was to go like get real popular, they would definitely extradite me. Like this freaking communist got to go. But no, like that was my issue with the Obama administration. That they supported a 2014 coup and gave Israel the go ahead to help a neo-Nazi regime be established in Ukraine. And when you read the articles about the Ukrainians and Russia with Biden in it, what you're seeing in the Western media is that they're just talking about how tough Biden is. And I think they're doing that because they want to say that Trump wasn't tough on Russia when Trump gave a lot of sanctions on Russia as well, too, that pissed Putin off. But besides that, they're trying to make Biden look like a strong leader, like he's doing the right thing, threatening Putin, saying, you bet not go into Ukraine. You bet not try to invade Ukraine. I'm going to sanction the hell out of you. He has a quote. He said, we're going to do to you what we should have did in 2014. That's a quote that they're like showing all big screen. I think it was CNN that wrote that article. It was one of those. But I'm just like, all right, I get that you're proud that he's being presidential, but do y'all not know that Ukraine has Nazis? And a lot of Ukrainian people have left their country because there's Nazism there. Like it's scary because it's like, I get that you don't want a country being invaded, even though we invade countries and bomb countries every day. I get that. You don't want Russia to get power like that. But why is Russia having these issues with Ukraine? Could it be the Nazi issue? Could it be? Like, can we talk about the Nazi issue? The Nazi issue is not mentioned at all in Western media, but the Nazi issue is mentioned in independent media. The Medium, The Intercept, they did an article on it. These are articles that have been going out since 2014, since the Nazi regime has taken over. But it never ever goes into like CNN or any big medias. It never reaches that level, and I just don't understand why. Because we all say on the liberal side here, I see a lot of liberals saying, I hate Nazis, fuck Nazis. But no one knows in America that Ukraine has a Nazi issue. Nobody knows.
There's an article, I'm just looking right now while you were talking. There's an article in The Nation, which is not exactly a flimsy publication. I mean, it's a pretty well respected publication, where they're talking about that. And the headline is America's collusion with neo-Nazis, neo-fascists play an important official or tolerated role in U.S.-backed Ukraine. It's by a guy named Stephen F. Cohen, who is
I know that guy. Oh shit!
Do you?
I've seen him a few times. He probably doesn't know who the fuck I am, but I've seen him a few times.
Yeah, he's professor emeritus of Russia Studies and Politics at NYU and Princeton.
Yep.
So he's a smart guy, and people should take a look at this. It's in The Nation. This is from May 2, 2018. That's 3 years ago.
That's what I'm saying, Bob. There's been articles since 2014 about this, and it just never ever reached mainstream media. Like, journalists have been doing their due diligence, raising this issue for almost, it's 2021 now, 2022.
Yeah.
8 years.
Wow.
About 8 years.
Wow.
And no one's saying
I didn't know about all this, honestly. I just didn't.
But how far does the Pentagon needs to go, basically? Because it's not just the Democrats. This is a Pentagon thing. This is a CIA thing. How far do they need to go just so they can get their interest moved? They got to work with Nazis just so they can have their interest? It really goes that deep? It goes that far?
Yeah. I see more stuff.
Damn, I shocked you. I'm sorry.
I see. I'm looking online right now. There's another piece from euvsdisinfo.eu. Disinfo. Kiev's Nazi practices will be discussed in Biden-Putin meeting. But then I haven't seen any reference to that, as you just pointed out.
Yeah.
So whatever came of that, who knows? But That's an interesting thing, and I'm glad you brought it up. Really,
It took a whole world war to get rid of these motherfuckers, and they're trying to come back.
yeah, it just keeps getting nastier and nastier too. But now the Republicans are saying that one of the first things they're going to do if they take over Congress is impeach Biden and target Hunter Biden for his activities in Ukraine. So it just keeps getting nastier and nastier.
Could that be why they don't bring it up right now? Like, I don't get why they didn't bring it up during the Trump era. They had all that time to bring it up during Trump era.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because of Hunter is why they don't bring it up right now.
I doubt that. But I don't know. I mean, what the hell do I know? I mean, I'm sitting here in South Carolina from the outside looking in. That's what I.
Right.
From the outside looking in. People say, "Why do you say that?" I said, "Well, I used to be on the inside because I worked on Capitol Hill for politicians, so I was kind of on the inside. Now I'm sitting down here in South Carolina, looking out my window, and so I'm on the outside."
Beautiful view, huh?
Well, not really. I got a bunch of houses right next to me, and yeah.
Well, Bob Gatty, I gotta let you go because I gotta interview this dude from Nigeria. But,
well, you have a good time interviewing that cat. And,
yeah. It's been a real pleasure, man. I'm so happy to talk to you again and have another great intellectual conversation about revolutionary politics, working class politics, what's going on with the DNC. Nazis are in Ukraine and no one's talking about it. But
well, I'll tell you what, I'm really impressed with your show. One of these days, you're going to have to give me some lessons in how to jazz up my podcast so it looks as good as yours.
Oh, definitely. Let's I know that you sent the email, so let's definitely try to make that happen. And I definitely need advice on you too on how to look for sponsorship and get money more and stuff.
Oh crap! I'm not making any money. You kidding?
But come on, you're on iHeartRadio. Come on now, there's nothing there.
Yeah, I'm on iHeart. I'm on all those things, but the money I get on those ads that they stick in the middle of my podcast.
Right. Well, that's what I'm trying to do. I only got one ad.
Well, you got to use. Well, I use this outfit called Spreaker, and that's their big thing. Is they stole me away from one of the other podcast streaming services, and with the promise that they'd put ads in my show and I'd make money. Well, so far I've made about $50. I mean, it's
oh, okay.
It's a pittance, but it keeps growing, and I need to take it to another level though. And you've got this great video option that you're doing, and I am not. When I do a video of my podcast, I have to do a separate piece that I have to produce for YouTube, and that's a pain in the ass. So, but Spreaker doesn't have a video option, so I would have to change, and I don't really want to do that because of the advertising. So anyway,
right.
But we'll have a chat, and that'll be great. And I thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. And everyone that's listening, you could check out Bob Gatty's podcast, link to the left. It's on all platforms. And also check out his book, Hijacked Nation. And he has 2 other books that he's coming out with. And anything else to mention? Oh, definitely out there in South Carolina, y'all need to start running. Everybody that's left need to start running in South Carolina. All right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And also, if you don't mind, check out my blog site. It's called Not Fake News.biz.
Not Fake News.
Yeah, because that's where everything kind of is housed, and you can get to my podcast from there too. So anyway, thank you, Jamar. I appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate it. Have a good day, my friend.
All right, take care.
I gotta keep it 100. Ay, if you don't like it, then fuck it. Ay, we gonna win in the end. Yeah, we gonna live in abundance. I gotta keep it 100. Ay, if you don't like it, then fuck it. Ay, we gonna win in the end. Yeah, we gonna. I gotta keep it 100. We gotta something different. We gotta change how we live.
And it is